Herded into a bathhouse where we were shaved, disinfected, and handed prison clothes. We were moved to a barrack with about 200 other women. We still didn't know where we were. We asked the other prisoners, when are we going to see our families? A woman pointed to a chimney and said, "Do you see the smoke? There is your family." In the following days, we were sent to work at a storage and processing area near crematorium number 4, where we sorted through mountains of clothes that came out of the trains and also out of the crematoriums and gas chambers. There were mountains of eyeglasses, toothbrushes, baby carriages, suitcases, household goods, every kind of item that people thought to bring with them. Because we worked and lived next to the crematorium and gas chamber, we soon had a first-hand knowledge of what had happened to our families. Day and night, columns of women and children and elderly passed by our barrack. We watched them enter the gate that led to the gas chambers. Sometimes they called out questions to us. By that point, nothing could save them. The sounds were magnified when we worked at night. First, I would hear the hissing of the steam engine arriving at the platform and the whistle of the train. And then within a half hour, hundreds of women, children, and elderly would pass by our barrack and disappear into the entrance of the gas chambers. Those arriving at night saw the smoke and flames belching from the chimneys and even burning bodies in open pits. It looked to them that they were being herded into open flames. They prayed and cried and screamed, and I would plug my ears with my fingers. Day and night, the transports kept coming. The 5 gas chambers and crematoriums operated day and night, killing as many as 10,000 people a day.
It's alright. I think we're just waiting in here until the rain stops.
Bounce off!
It's just a shower.
A shower?
It's just a shower.
Soon to be coming in the US, if it's not here already, but most likely it already is. In Canada, they are already building quarantine internment camps. Yes, quarantine internment camps. We have been shouting and sounding the alarm for a very long time, telling you that these are coming next, that they're going to be building quarantine internment camps, and they already have the legislation to do it. They are able now to separate you from your children, send you or your children to CPS, social services, foster care. If you refuse to get them tested or have them wear masks, go to online learning during COVID, they're making all sorts of measures, and they have now the right to remove you from your home or your parents or your children and force you to quarantine. How are they going to do it? They said, we're going to get some special accommodations for you guys. Don't worry. We're going to give you some special accommodations. Well, you think you're going to stay in the Fairmont Hotel? Where do you think you're going to be staying in? You know, even Days Inn? No, this ain't no 5-star hotel situation. Okay, make no mistake. You're going to be staying in a freaking internment camp. Let's roll the clip and see what we're dealing with here.
The next question, the member for Lanark, Frontenac, Kingston.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. In my supplemental question yesterday, I asked this government if the people of Ontario should prepare for internment camps. In September, the federal government posted a call for expressions of interest for contractors to supply, provide, and manage quarantine isolation camps throughout every province and every territory in Canada. These quarantine isolation camps, however, are not limited to people with COVID, but provide a wide latitude for many people to be detained. Surely this government is aware of the intentions to build these isolation camps from coast to coast. And my question to the Premier is, how many of these camps will be built, and how many people does this government expect to detain?
Question. Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is very true that when people leave the country and when they come back in, that the province is suggesting, and the federal government, in cooperation with the federal government, we are suggesting that people isolate themselves. That has been a practice that has been very successful, not only here in the province of Ontario, but across Canada. And we will, of course, be redoubling our efforts to make sure that the people of the province of Ontario remain safe, Mr. Speaker. So if the member is referring to the fact that that one of the public health policies is that when you return from a jurisdiction outside of the province of Ontario or from another country that you isolate yourself for 2 weeks, I would suggest that has been a good policy that has been working. In fact, this House has been doing the same thing since we came back. We are working in cohorts to make sure that the Legislative Assembly can continue to operate. That's why we have 2 separate cohorts, Mr. Speaker.
Response.
And with the cooperation of the official opposition, that is why all members of the Independents have been excluded from that cohort, because we want them to be able to participate in debate. So we will continue to do everything in our power to make sure that this House continues, but that the people of the province of Ontario and Canada are kept safe.
Supplementary question.
Again, back to the Premier. Here's the RFP, and in the RFP it uses clear language to express that these camps can be used for a broad spectrum of people, not limited to travellers. Indeed, it doesn't even mention international travellers. It's just a broad latitude of people. And I'll send over the copy of the RFP after. So your government must be in negotiations and aware of these plans to potentially detain and isolate citizens and residents of our country and our province. So, Speaker, to the Premier, where will these camps be built? How many people will be detained? And for what reasons?
Questions.
For what reasons can people be kept in these isolation camps? And I'd like to have the Premier assure the people of Ontario.
Member, take a seat. The next question.
So, Canadian federal government is building internment camps to put people in. They're being built coast to coast in every province and used for, quote, public health and other related federal requirements associated with the COVID-19 pandemic response. This is what's happening, folks.
Look down here in the bottom. It's a fucking toilet.
It does.
Yes, sir, it does.
They have fucking toilets or toilets in them. Holy shit, dude. Those are for people.
Yeah, those are for people.
and grab toilets.
How many are there, bro?
I don't know.
I've got a number of questions about people refuse. What do we do if someone refuses to be tested? Well, they can't now. If someone refuses in our facilities to be tested, they have to keep staying. So they won't be able to leave after 14 days. They have to stay on for another 14 days. So it's a pretty good incentive. You either get your tests done and make sure you're cleared, or we will keep you in a facility longer. So I think most people will look at that and say, I'll take the test.